I am Christine. I am the goddess of wellness, and I'm going to teach you how to live well, wild, and free. I have a great new show for you that has lifestyle medicine, biohacking, naturopath, and doing hard things, but we make them fun. I cannot wait for this exciting new show at the Soundplex Studios in Pennsauken, New Jersey, and we're going to be wild, fresh, and always fun. So come join us for this great new show called The Goddess of Wellness, and I am Christine Patton, who's going to make it really fun. Hi, I am Christine Patton, and I am the Goddess of Wellness and a Longevity General. And what the heck is that? What is that? That is something that I decided I felt from within that needed to emerge. I was the juice girl, and I loved being the juice girl. And I had a juice bar. I had a juice bar for a decade in Stone Harbor. I had my juices in Whole Foods. I also started the first farmers market in Marlton, New Jersey, and I worked in about 6 or 7 of them a week, sometimes 8. And in that time, I got to see our food supply dramatically change and a rise in chronic illness and obesity and very compromised food. It was very hard, starting this juice bar, and you are starting to get the food delivered and it keeps on looking like it's compromised. And I'm at a point that I'm now on a mission to disrupt an industry that has been lying to me and been lying to you. Aren't we sick and tired of being sick and tired and watching everyone else be sick and tired? I was the medical POA to both my parents, and I had a front row seat to this healthcare industry. I lost my mother slowly by watching 3 of her organs fail. And I took a whole year with my mother in 4 different hospitals, rehabbed, you name it. And I said to myself, there has to be another way. Why are we working so hard? And the minute you retire, if you get to that point, everyone's suffering. And my dad, the juice dad, he was my right hand. He was my whole world. My dad thrived. He was in 90 movies. The last movie he was in was Bradley Cooper that I drove him to in New York. And it was during COVID, and my dad did whatever they told him. If he had to get a booster, he had to get this. So my dad had 3 shots and then a double flu vaccine. And when I heard that, I went, oh my God, my dad's not going to, my dad never took an aspirin. And what do you think happened? My dad collapsed. We took him to the emergency room, and I was there for 4 or 5 hours. They ran all these tests. I've become so good at reading these tests because of my mother and because my dog was sick at the same time. I left for about 15, 20 minutes and they released him. And I could not believe this because I can now read all the blood work, and everything I was looking at was things were failing. But they said, no, it's Monday. Let him go home. Let him be in his own bed. Let him watch the Eagles. Let him go to the cardiologist. I'm like, he doesn't even have one. My dad never had a problem. And I didn't want to keep micromanaging my dad. I didn't fight back, but I was angry. And the next day, my dad didn't want me to stay there. My dad was dead on the floor. And this is not to make anybody feel bad. It's to wake people up. Is because my dad didn't have to happen to my father. It doesn't have to happen to your father. It doesn't have to happen to us. It is time that we take our own health back. I am mad, and I'm also inspired because my own health was so compromised. Here I am thriving. I was the juice girl, but you cannot withstand 2 funerals and going through what somebody goes through, and then your body's just going to be resilient. There's a lot of stress on top of that. And then as you get older, your body might not work as well. So when I went looking for help, I didn't get the answers I wanted. I didn't get the answers I wanted with my hormones. I was told, you're never going to lose weight, or you'll just be never wearing a bikini, and I didn't ask what I was going to be wearing. I was asking for hormone help. And when I asked to run blood work, they're like, you don't need that. I had 2 torn meniscus, and I was told, well, here's the medication that you can take, or you can go get knee surgery. And that didn't work for me. Then I asked if I could have my brain looked at, and they gave me a 4th grade test that I don't even think I passed. So you get to a point, and then I'm thinking, why am I living? Why am I doing this? I've lost my parents. I closed my business to be with my mother. So why am I doing this? And I gave it a lot of thought. Like, if I was not going to live, how would I take my life? And my thought was Alcatraz. For some reason, I am deathly afraid of sharks. I'm afraid of anything open water. And I thought, oh my God, I would die instantly. But for some reason, I looked up, does anybody swim Alcatraz? And once a year, there is this race. And I was so sad over my parents. I thought, I don't need to be proving myself or doing anything. And it brought life into me that here are people once a year, they're in this Shark Fest race. And I wish I could be like them. I was never a great athlete. I don't have athletic ability at that time, but something said I was inspired, and I watched all the videos. And when I was out of videos, I bought the bathing suit and I said, I'll just train for it. And we're as good as our accountability partners. I have one, her name's Dara. And I decided, and I'm training for it, I'm not going to do it. And she's like, well, you said you were going to do this race. So that was the pivotal moment of, I'm going to live again. I'm going to do something big. And I, as the least qualified person to sign up to swim Alcatraz, I think they try to talk me out of it, actually. There's a fire inside of me, and there's a fire inside of each and every one of us. We give up at the last 5 minutes because it gets too hard. My tagline is do hard things, because that pushes you through to the next level. There is no growth in comfort. Comfort, you're not getting anywhere. So I decided I would put myself out there and become an athlete. With 2 torn meniscus, I had a neck that didn't work. I was told I could not swim without a snorkel. That's not going to work in Alcatraz. I was completely fear-bound. I didn't know I was also in fight or flight, and I didn't breathe. So I'm learning all these things, but still I had the motivation to do it, and I had to face the fear. And the first one was get into a lake. So my friend Bill was like, I'm going to teach you how to swim, because I've never really swum. I've never been in past my knee. And that was absolutely frightening. And it was the first time really getting into the cold water. And then I had to get a wetsuit. And then that was a whole nother thing. Now the wetsuits fit me properly. And, the whole process I wanted to give up. But there's beauty in sticking with the course. There's something so magical if you go further than you think you can. So I finally found a wetsuit that fit. I had to go to rent the wetsuit and try all the different ones. And I found a Japanese neoprene that fit me perfectly because I couldn't breathe. Well, now I have to go into the ocean, because if I'm going to swim Alcatraz, I need to be in a body of water like that. And I went to go get trained in Ocean City, and not being disrespectful to anybody, but the guy was a little bit pompous. And I asked him if he would train me. He saw me struggling awkwardly at the break. And he's like, oh, you're that girl who's going to swim Alcatraz? Let me tell you something else. There is a fire inside of each and every one of us. Tap into that, because the anger and the sadness I had from losing both my parents and my body not working that well was enough to say, well, you're either going to teach me or not, but you're not going to push me and make me feel like I can't do something. So you have to tap into that fire. And he was like, okay, follow me. Let's go do this. And I had my first race 2 days later. And he was like, so when's Alcatraz? I'm like, oh, that's in a couple months, but I'm swimming my first ocean race with the lifeguards that are about 17 to 19 years old that I decided I was going to swim with past the break, And it was the scariest thing to swim out to the buoy in the ocean, and then having to do a ocean swim, because I used to just look at those people and be like, that's something I could never do. Now I'm doing it wild and free and doing it scared. And then there was another ocean swim. And then I was in a tri relay, and we, out of 800 people, we were at number 2 and then we're at number 3 as a team. They put me in the fastest category. If I listened to myself, I'd be in the slowest category. But my teammates were like, no, go in the fastest one. I'm like, no, I'm not that fast. They're like, well, you better be fast. We're as good as the people around us. And what I've also learned is you can do these amazing things and hit rock bottom again. So when I went out to do Alcatraz, I was petrified. I saw all the seals and the sea lions, and I saw a video of a great white shark grabbing a seal right where we have to jump off the boat. It lived in my brain. But I have a test swim at like 6 o'clock at night with Pedro. And he's going to look in my eyes and tell me I can do it because this man has swam it 100 times. He's from Chile. But when I got there for my test swim, he unfortunately was not well, and his counterpart was there, a skinny blonde. Not that I don't like skinny blondes. I'm just telling you, she was skinny and a blonde. And she was very nice. But she said, be careful of the boat traffic. I'm like, boat traffic? But I have to now deal with boat traffic. She goes, don't get your hand cut over here and be careful. I saw a cruise ship swim. I was supposed to swim with a cruise ship and boat traffic and not get cut. And then also there are sea lions that were biting people underneath that had to go to the hospital. I thought the shark was going to get me as soon as I got in the water, and I had a panic attack.
It's every fear that you're going to fucking I don't want to. Panicking, but okay. I'm a good swimmer, but I'm just trying to get used to it.
And luckily, somebody's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm a good swimmer, but I can't acclimate my breath. I was so in fight or flight, I didn't know it. And these women surrounded me. They were wonderful. And that's why it's so important to lift other women up and not put them down, especially when they're struggling. Shame on you for whoever does that. You really shouldn't do that. Women need each other. And in that moment, I had these women that embraced me. And I was with my friend, and she saw me struggling, and she was like, saw you struggling. And I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? How am I going to swim Alcatraz? I can't even swim in this small part of this body of water in the San Francisco Bay. How am I going to go out to where the big sharks are? How am I going to do it? You do it. And when it was time for me to go on that boat, there was 2 boats, and these are the best swimmers. Well, I don't know, but they seem to be the best swimmers from around the world. You're with Olympic swimmers, and then there's me. And I just had to surrender. But my friend, who was the rescue kayak, she capsized right where I saw the great white shark in the video before the race even started. And so now I am at the front of the boat making sure she's okay. And the Coast Guards came, the policemen came, on their jet skis, and they grabbed my friend, who's actually the gourmet mama here at the Soundplex. And I was like, she was supposed to capture the moment. Now I'm like the third person in the water. And it's much different when you watch the videos than when you're in the water looking at Alcatraz. And I've learned you have to fall in love with what you're afraid of. I had to look at Alcatraz in the face and say, I love you. How could I fear you when I love you? Because I was scared out of my mind. And I had to wait for 15 minutes and tread water. When you tread water for 15 minutes in ice cold, it's like it hits you like a ton of bricks. And I had to just be resilient and emerge into this new person, like a goddess in the water, because me as Christine Patton would have failed miserably, but I had to find that thing inside of me. And the race started, and now I'm in the front with all like the best swimmers from around the world, and make sure I don't get hit in the face, because that happens too. But I just put my mother and my father on each side, and I said, if there's sharks all around me, I am just surrendering to this, but I am going to breathe and do my best, and I'm going to try to enjoy this. And the swim was almost effortless, which doesn't make any sense. And I met a friend, and her and I just swam in sync, and I thought of all the people I love, and I did a roll call. And I swam this race as if as if it wasn't even a bother. And I realized you can do big things, you can do hard things. Things can still get hard. I can still have fears. I can still feel like I'm going to fail. But we get to a point, that you do these magic moments and you have to constantly have other things that you want to do. It's not just one or done. And that's where I said, I have to take my health back. If I'm going to live, it is time to really live wild, well, and free. And I'm going to give myself some time because I don't want to happen to me what happened to my mother or my father. And I'm scared to death to grow old. So why don't I grow young? Let's start growing young. And I was a little afraid that I was single and I might not have someone to take care of me. Well, why don't I take care of me and take care of all of you? And we can do this together as this amazing team. So I traded in for the medical advice I got in mainstream and got into biohacking. And Dave Asprey, I hope you do my show one day because you have inspired me beyond. I am in awe of other ways and how you stand up to what comes up against you and how you created such a movement. It has changed my life. I went to your first biohacking conference last year. I'm getting ready to go to the next one. And I felt like I found my people. And I learned so much. I learned about stem cells, how I can rejuvenate my own body. And that was through Stem Regen. And you're such a great speaker, Christian. Oh my gosh. I love your product so much. And I learned more about the cold. The cold is what saved my life. And for anybody that follows me on these cold videos, it was really because I want fire and ice is where I go into the cold to do well. It's a small business and it has regulated my nervous system and it has helped me to breathe and to do hard things. So when I have to do more hard things, it is becoming so much easier. And not only that, it has helped with my body. It helped rejuvenate both my knees, my neck. It helps with the releasing some of the white fat. It gives so many good chemicals into your brain. You get to feel like the falling in love, oxytocin. You feel so good. There might be a fight or flight for the first 10 seconds, but if you get past that, you're going to have different hormones that kick in and you don't need coffee for the rest of the day. I feel amazing. And now I've led hundreds of people to the cold and I do it fun. We play music. We have dance parties. These are not to be these silly things. These are things that absolutely work. And in that same biohacking conference, I met a team of people from Jerry Tennant, and Dr. Jerry Tennant is incredible. And I have some of his equipment here today, the biomodulator, the transducer, and this helps to reset your autonomic nervous system and your central nervous system. When I went to this biohacking conference, I found out that I don't breathe and I'm in this fight or flight. And I'd wake up with my mouth very dry. And maybe it's because I'm not breathing correctly. And nobody mainstream could tell me what was going on. They said, well, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. And I had to learn to breathe. And when I went to Jerry Tennant's table, they said to me, they did an assessment. They said, oh, you're in fight or flight. And it's your gallbladder and it's your large intestine and it's your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system that is out of whack. And by using these pieces of equipment, and I'm not here to just promote, but I feel that it has been absolutely amazing. It's giving your body voltage. And after losing my mother to having her organs fail and having to watch that slowly, I wish I knew this then. But I'm happy that I learned it now, that I can reset my body in the morning. It's absolutely fantastic. And I can give myself electricity myself. It's amazing. These stories that you hear of people that were going blind, that organs were not working, you have to reverse the polarity in the body according to Dr. Jerry Tennant. So he is in my wellness toolbox. And I also did something hard. I went to Harvard Medical School. I put myself into some courses for lifestyle medicine, and I had complete imposter syndrome. But if you want to learn and expand, you have to be in rooms where people will lift you and elevate you. You can't be the smartest person in the room. And it was the first time I had people come at me on one of our social media sites, on one of our WhatsApp, because I juice. And a lot of the physicians didn't align with it. And I'm at a point where I back down to nobody anymore. If I don't know something, I'll say it. But I said, well, I'm the juice girl, and I am not trying to sell anybody anything, but I know that I've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of green detox and juices and made cleanses, and I know that that's a part of healing done correctly on an empty stomach. And they said, no, you have to do fiber. No, 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 no. And I said, well, where's your research on that? And where's your do you juice every day? If you don't juice and you don't walk the walk, then I'm not listening to you. And out of nowhere, Juan Kim was like, I will not be silenced anymore. Juan Kim will be on this show. He is becoming a master herbalist. He, to me, everyone was very smart, but he was wicked smart. And he goes, leave the juice girl alone. And he always had great published data. And I was like, Juan Kim, we have data on that. And to align with someone like him, who I find to be very smart, has only elevated me. And he did show me public research and published research about juicing of the benefits. Of course, it's done right. And yes, you should have fiber. I get that. But taking lifestyle medicine really was a game changer for me, because it's not just what you put in your body. It is 6 different pillars. So you have your diet and your nutrition. And even though I've always been healthy, I realized that maybe I wasn't taking good enough care for myself. Maybe I wasn't getting all the nutrients and everything I needed on that plate. And then with exercise, if I'm doing the same exercise over and over again, and maybe I'm just waiting until the end of the day to work out, I've learned that we can do these exercise snacks where you can exercise every 2 hours and get that blood flowing in your body. And you can just do squats, you can do push-ups, there's things you can do. It was the stress resilience also that is one of the pillars that I didn't realize, that I've been in fight or flight most of my life and very stressed out, managing it the best I can. So I wanted to look into the stress and risky behavior. And that's just not just texting the wrong people. It's risky behavior of, are you drinking? Are you smoking pot? Are you doing things that are a little bit risky? And I looked into that too. But sleep resilience is another pillar that we learned. I didn't realize how, I don't want to say bad, but how much I needed sleep hygiene. And then I went full throttle and had a sleep test and found out I'm not breathing certain parts of the night. And I also go to bed late and wake up early. So I changed that. You know, the lifestyle medicine tries to talk about these blue zones, which I'm in love. And I would love, especially here at the Soundplex, is to create this blue zone type of lifestyle from the longevity lounge that I'm sitting in, that I created, because we can create whatever we want. The lifestyle medicine and the blue zones, they talk about connection. And I think that is so important. And I would look at myself, if I was in between relationships of, you know, I'm single. Now I look at it like I'm thriving at it, and I can do and be whoever I want. And I will only be with the people that align with me, that want to grow young with me. So I look at it so much differently, but my connections to people are so important. Your tribe will make you thrive. And I hope to build such a great blue zone-like longevity, wild, well, and free group. And it's coming from the Soundplex, which here in Pennsauken. And if I did not come across this place, you know, it just was magic. And now like-minded people are all coming together at all different ages and stages to talk about health and entertainment and music and build things from scratch, is where I think we need to go back to, because none of us can keep up with what's going through the pipelines. And we're going to need more than a cup of juice to help us thrive. And I really believe we need to be our own healers and talk to ourselves, not just ourselves, but talk to ourselves lovingly. They are listening. It's like a plant. And I got into naturopath with Barbara O'Neill. One of her books is Self-Heal by Design, which is just absolutely incredible, or Sustain Me. Barbara, I love you. I'll promote anything for you. That's this woman who is a nurse, They were going to try and put her in jail for 10 years. She's almost 70 because she's leading people to do things that are natural, that are helping people to live well and not be in pain or suffering. I will always stick up for her and give a little to Sacred Space, Lisa Gonzalez, who I get the privilege and the beauty to go on some of these retreats, which are the most meaningful thing to me. It's because of the connections. You don't ever feel alone, and I get to travel with people. And I mourned my parents on several of her retreats. They are absolutely amazing. And I wanted to mention my friend's husband, The Wellness Formula. I'll be having Michael Sabia on the show at some point. He is one of my favorite. He's one of my best friend's husbands, and he has a medical cabinet that I go to the house. I just want to hang out with him. Show me what's in the cabinet. What kind of pills do you have? What are you doing? He's a mainstream doctor. He's an anesthesiologist, but he thrives on all the alternatives of wellness. So and he's local, and I can't wait to share his knowledge with you. And, maybe Dr. Shin, who helped my knees instead of being told you'll never run again, which I was told. He has me doing splits and roller skating and hiking down mountains when I was told you'll never run and you're going to have to walk very carefully. I'm not with a cane, but just he brought me back to life. So I think it's important that as a community, we can lift each other up and bring everybody back up. And that is my goal as the goddess of wellness. Because like I say, it's going to take more than a cup of juice to withstand everything everyone has been through. And I want to be your longevity general from my longevity lounge, because I want us all to live well, live wild, and live free. So thank you for listening. We're going to have such amazing people sharing stories of why they do cold plunges, why they live differently, why they decided to start over at a older age and really thrive and live well. And men, you guys all need hugs. I have these groups I call it the bathhouse. I'm around a lot of men, and the best part of my day is having conversations with these other teammates. I call us the Blue Zone group, because we all need each other. The feminine needs to stay feminine and feel safe, and the man needs to be in his masculine and his protective energy. And I feel like we've blurred so many lines and things have just become chaotic. And I would love for us all to come back together and talk about everything well and everything whole. So thank you so much for listening to the first pilot episode of The Goddess of Wellness, your longevity general. My name is Christine Patton. It has been an honor and a privilege to have you listen, and I believe in my heart we can all thrive together.